Get into it. SUI validators vote on 162 million Cetus recovery plan to restore user funds. Cetus may recover 162 million in stolen funds if the SUI community approves a governance vote with a full user fund recovery plan already in motion. SUI-based decentralized exchange Cetus may be one step closer to recovering funds lost in a recent exploit, pending the outcome of a community governance vote scheduled to end June 3rd. Cetus was exploited for over $220 million worth of digital assets on May 22nd. For those of you that are not familiar, it is a decentralized exchange, a la, I'm gonna draw blanks today. The unicorn one, Uniswap, but on the SUI blockchain, not on obviously Ethereum. And so that's what Cetus is at the end of the day. So if it's a decentralized exchange, there should be no takesies backsies, is what a majority of cryptocurrency advocates would claim, right? But in a May 27th post on X, SUI said Cetus had requested a community vote to approve the recovery of the frozen funds. So for those of you that are not aware, let's catch you up on that as well. SUI was hacked, as stated, for $220 million worth of digital assets. Well, Cetus was, right? The decentralized exchange on the SUI blockchain. What happened after that is the validators all got together and decided to freeze the funds. Now, obviously, this is going to... The elephant in the room here is that there is enough centralization surrounding the SUI blockchain that they are able to execute a freezing of funds. Because obviously, if you had a properly decentralized network, you wouldn't be able to coordinate the freezing of funds, right? That's the argument, right? The more decentralization you have, the less organization to do these sorts of things would be. That's a very basic way of explaining it. Obviously, there's more to it than just that, but that is pretty much what happened. So now we have these funds frozen, 162 million of the 220 million, because about 40 million, I guess specifically, what is that? 28, or no, more than that. I'm going crazy. 58 million. Is that right? Yeah, 58 million was liquidated through different mixers, etc., by the attacker. And so some of it did get out. 162 million of it did get frozen before it got out, which is a significant percentage being frozen. You couldn't freeze all of it, right? And so that's essentially what happened, right? And so then now we're here, and there are basically discussions about providing that $162 million back to Cetus, the decentralized exchange. So, quote, if the community vote is approved, the funds will be recovered from the attacker and held in a multi-sig trust account until they can be returned to accounts that had positions in Cetus, the post said. The vote is part of a broader recovery plan that includes using Cetus's treasury and securing an emergency loan from the SUI Foundation. The crazy part here too, and I assume part of the multi-sig will be some of the developers of the SUI network will have control over a part of the multi-sig wallets before it goes back to Cetus, and Cetus will have probably some tokens for the multi-sig wallet, that sort of thing, because trust in Cetus should be waning at this point, just from my perspective, from the attack. Because it's not like it was a phishing scam that targeted users directly. This was essentially an attack that hit the decentralized exchange directly, which is why without any user participation, they were able to liquidate $220 million out of the decentralized exchange. So this isn't an end user error issue. This is a decentralized exchange issue. And so, giving them the money back seems foolhardy, to say the least. Obviously, I guess you have to work with them so that you can get the records. I would assume if it's a decentralized exchange, my thoughts would be you would be able to use a scanner and give the money back without the interaction of the decentralized exchange, but they're going to be utilizing, I guess, Cetus to help in that. It's just like a lot of lost trust, right? So the ability of the SUI validators to freeze the funds has sparked debate within the community, with some users criticizing the centralization risk and others praising the rapid response as a positive step for security. And we talked about this a lot. Like, this is true in life, you know. You have to basically choose between, in crypto speak, you know, decentralization and security, right? And that is, you know, in real life, you might equate that to freedom and security. You know, the more freedoms you have, the less secure you are. The more security you have, the less freedom you have. And that interprets into blockchain as like, the more centralization you have, the more security you have, and the more decentralization you have, the less security you have, right? And that's kind of the game that you play. So, you know, if you are a, you know, cypherpunk purist, this just throws up red flags all over the place. You probably don't want to participate in a network that practices in this. And this is the debate within the community. I would say, from what I read on Twitter, it leans more towards people being opposed to the centralization risk, more than the positive step for security. The thing is like, obviously, if you lost funds in this hack, you're going to be biased, right, to be praising the rapid response and positive step for security because you've lost money. And it does beg the question, like we always talk about, not your keys, not your crypto. We presume that, you know, in a decentralized exchange, that you still have control over your keys, and those are contracts, you know, within your wallet that you can control. And we say, you know, stay away from centralized exchanges, but there's been, you know, obvious, problems here now, obviously arisen with decentralized exchanges, excuse me. So, you know, it's one of those things, anytime you're trying to put your crypto to work, there's a certain amount of risk, right? And it seems to be that the harder you try to make, you know, your cryptocurrency work for you, whether it's through decentralized liquidity pools or some sort of staking, etc., the higher your risk goes up. And it's almost as if the best idea is to just throw it in a wallet that you can control and never attach that wallet to any, you know, decentralized platforms or DeFi or any exchanges whatsoever, you know, and only put into those particular applications something that you're willing to lose, right? I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. If you would like to see more from this particular episode, take a look up here. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to sonofatech.locals.com and become a member. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.